Welcome to The Pull Bags Back Issue Classics. Join us as we talk about comics from yesteryear, from DC, Marvel, and more. So open your ears to hear our discussion of the older continuities, as the Back Issue Classics are also what's in The Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is Back Issue Classics, episode 80 of The Pull Bag. So we're 20 away from 100 episodes of the Back Issue Classics. And we are 10 away from 150 overall numbered episodes for The Pull Bag. I'm, of course, TFG and Mike. Joining me for the first time in a long time, I don't even remember the last time he was on this show, is Steve Megatron. Hello, sir.
Yo.
And we are here to talk about Geek-Girl, a new comic series from a company that I have never heard of. And I'm not saying that to be cruel or anything else, but until somebody pointed this out to me, I didn't know who these people are. But it's by Marcosia Enterprises Limited. That's who publishes it. And it is written by Sam Johnson. The art is done by Carlos Granda. The colorist on issue 1 is Map, M-A-H-P. And Paul McLaren on issue 1 is the letterer. Covers by Carlos Granda and Chunlin Zhao and Matt Olson. Now, you had already kind of talked about this on Altered Geek a while ago.
Yeah, when the first two issues were out.
Mm-hmm. I had never heard of this. I must have missed that episode of Altered Geek that week. I don't know what I was doing.
You weren't on it. It was a solo flick.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, even listening to it, I must have missed that one because I do not even, like, remember. You know, we've been doing this podcasting thing almost a decade, folks, and normally I know what Steve puts in his images for Altered Geek and how he titles it and everything else, and I don't even remember if this was in the title of that episode. But anyway, we're here. Okay, well, we're here now, and the reason why we're here now is because the writer, Sam Johnson, reached out to me and to Geekcast Radio and to This Week in Geek, as the Pull Bag is now both on the Geekcast Radio Network and This Week in Geek. So Sam reached out to me and I emailed him, and as soon as he reached out to Geekcast Radio and myself, he then reached out to This Week in Geek, and I kind of messaged him back, and I'm like, I'm kind of running that one too, so it'll be on both. So there's that. As I was reading through these first four issues, I like it. I think the writing is good. It's not the best comic writing I've ever read.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah. I like the art style. The art style is very superhero-ish, DC Marvel type. It's not copying that style. It's its own style.
It kind of reminds me of something from Zenoscope in a slight way.
Yeah, I would say that Zenoscope Entertainment stuff with the Grimm Fairy Tale universe, it's a little bit more polished than this is. By that, I mean it's a little bit more over on Zenoscope stuff. It's a little bit more embossed in certain areas of certain characters and things like that. And I like this. I think it's interesting. I don't know if it's, to be perfectly honest, I don't know if it's something I will stick with. I have to be honest, folks, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not trying to be cruel or mean, but after reading the first two issues, I felt like I was in high school for superheroes, and these ladies are in college. But it really feels like Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm very sorry, man, but that's really what, after I read through these, that's what I felt, at least the first two issues. So as we go through these, we get the story of Ruby, aka Geek-Girl. She finds these glasses. So she is a new superhero. She's learning to use the powers. Other superheroes in this town in Maine. Now, again, I'm from New England, and I know that Maine really isn't like the way they portray it in this comic. But that's okay. You know, dramatic license and all that and everything else. So we meet Neon Girl and Pitbull, and they both get taken out by Lightning Storm, who is a new villain, and or at least a new villain to the new superhero Geek-Girl. And we then, in the first issue, get various shots, and the story progresses through Neon Girl being in the hospital and Geek-Girl thinking it's all her fault and everything else. And Neon Girl's like, you have to promise me to at least, try to, defeat her, blah, blah, blah. And we go back to this coffee bar or whatever, and we run into other characters.
I'm not hearing this.
So as the first issue continues, what were you thinking as you went through this?
Well, one, I kind of got how I wish there was a little exposition as far as how the glasses function.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed, is that there's kind of no internal dialogue at all.
It's kind of like magically I win these glasses, and it doesn't make sense why they're playing the game for the glasses in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first issue even starts out with Geek-Girl already having the glasses and flying around the city, and she's talking to her best friend Summer back at the dorm, or Summer's on a train or bus, or I don't know. She's at a gym or something. And then the attack happens with Lightning Storm attacking Neon Girl and Pitbull and all that, and that's when they end up in the hospital. And so we get the hospital scenes. And Neon Girl says to Geek-Girl, I want you to get that bitch for me. And one thing I noticed, and I don't know if this was reader feedback between the first and second and third and fourth issues of this series, is they curse in the first issue, and they don't bleep, they don't and sign or at sign or anything to bleep it out, but in later issues.
The first issue.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
when they drop the F-bomb.
Okay, well, bitch is not bleeped out.
No.
When Neon Girl is laid up in the hospital.
But when she says, how about you call me a blanking ambulance instead?
Yeah.
And it's all the letters, so.
Yeah, that's true. So, we go to this this bar or whatever it is, and talking about this guy named Jeff, who is actually a friend of Trevor, who is the creator of the glasses, I guess. And we get like you said, we get this kind of weird exposition of the glasses without really getting exposition of the glasses. And it's just weird. It really, really is. And yeah, you're right. We get to the game, and strip poker. Okay, I mean, I understand the whole point of strip poker, but putting your glasses up as a prize for a strip poker, that's not really the prize that you're supposed to be getting in strip poker. After all, these people are in college.
Mm-hmm.
This first issue was really rough for me to read. It really was. Because like you said, there's really no
it's a lot of high school antics of picking on the geek girl, which I kind of get it. You know, everybody's popular in picking on the geek, clumsy geek, but it's almost like they did. You know, they kind of took the reverse of, you know, where they're halfway decent and then they become a klutz, and almost kind of reverting them in a sense, like reverse Peter Parker.
Yeah.
When he gets his Spidey powers, like, except he's got powers and he's like his pre-version of clumsy Parker.
Yeah.
So
and the thing with her is with Ruby, aka Geek-Girl, is that they're making fun of her because she has geeky looking glasses, because those are what give her the superpowers. And it just, I don't know. Like I said, the first issue just feels really, really awkward, and there's not enough real introduction to the characters. Like, we don't get this is supposed to be an origin story, I guess, but it's, I'm having a hard time explaining this, because it's just, I don't want to piss the creators off here, but it all just seems so childish. I'm sorry. That's just what this first issue felt like to me. By the end of this, we kind of get introduced to Pitbull, who is the other hero of the city. As we go through, we get more insults from the popular crowd towards Geek-Girl. You know, and she's going to prove, you know, her friend right and everybody else right, and spills something on supposedly her other friends, and it's all the slow clap things, and God.
Mike's mind's breaking.
It really is, because by the end of the 4 issues, I was fine. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Issue 3 and 4, I enjoyed. Issue 1 and 2, not so much. I understand now why Sam is hyping issue 3 as a jump on point, because they basically recap all of this briefly within like 2 or 3 pages for the first 2 issues. And the first issue ends with Geek-Girl basically kind of beating up on Pitbull. And by the time issue 2 starts, it's kind of... the story goes in a better place, I think, in issue 2. I think it does get better, but there are also those weird, awkward moments. And maybe it's me, dude. Maybe because I did not have a traditional college experience. You know, I didn't go to the 4-year school. I didn't go to the 2-year school. I went to community college for a couple of semesters, and
Community college is nothing like this.
I know, obviously. And that's what I'm saying. So because this is portrayed as them, you know, being in a dorm, and
I can see where people closer to their 20s, like their low 20s and you know, teens would really enjoy this. Myself being at 30 years old, I don't particularly find a lot of the because I've overcome a lot of these social status picking ons for being a geek and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't resonate with me the same way.
Yeah, as I said, the first 2 issues do not really resonate with me at all. Like, you know, they're going out to, like, the whole point of the second issue, at least the first half of it, is that Ruby and Summer are going to go get trashed, and they're going to go to this nightclub and go get trashed and dance all night, and we run into this lesbian lizard tongue chick, I guess, you know, and Ruby, aka Geek-Girl, has these really, really weird experiences in this club because she either doesn't have the glasses on, or she then later has the glasses on and no one recognizes her. And they tell her, like the bartender tells her, without the glasses she's hot, and later when because her and Summer are talking about the glasses and the powers, and they're basically talking out in the open that she is a superhero, so everybody kind of knows there is no secret identity here. So that's one thing. It's not in really like Spider-Man or anything else, where everybody knows who she is and that she's a new superhero and everything else. I'm just, like you said, I'm 3 years away from being 40 years old, and I've never related to the bar or nightclub scene whatsoever.
Yeah, the nightclub thing's a little strange, but yeah.
So after the nightclub scene, or during the nightclub scene, I need to bring up the fact that the girl from the coffee place comes up to Geek-Girl and says, "Oh, you kind of punched out my boyfriend, and or my ex-boyfriend, and he actually had a dent in his face, and then he just started disappearing." So they're trying to add in this whole supernatural element into it, and it just seems all over the place in issue 2 as the nightclub scene progresses. Like, they don't know what they want the villain of the comic to be for Geek-Girl. Do they want it to be the prissy, preppy girls who are, making fun of her? Do they want it to be a supernatural angle? It just seems like they don't know what they want to do. And it's kind of like, honestly, I can relate to that a little bit because about 10 years ago, I tried to write a novel, and obviously it didn't go well. But when I would be writing, I would end up writing 30 or 40 pages, and then by page 41, I would change one thing of the main character, and then all the rest of it went to hell. And I just couldn't, once I changed that, it's like, oh, I just can't keep focus on doing this. And we have this weird dance scene with the lesbian lizard tongue chick, and she assumes that Geek-Girl is bi, and
the one with the bionic eye.
Yeah, the one with the bionic eye.
Yeah.
I think it's is she the one with the bionic eye?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. It's just, and again, if it's not a tongue thing, it's probably a lip ring. I'm probably saying it wrong, but if you look at the panel where she says, where the lesbian chick says, "What do boys know? I'm telling you that, the glasses, they're sexy. I think you're really hot." And the next panel is a close-up on her face that she's getting ready to kiss Geek-Girl with her eyes closed. And the green thing hanging off of her lip looks like a lizard's tongue. It does not look like a lip ring or a tongue ring or anything I've ever seen before. So it's just really friggin' strange and creepy.
Well, and then skipping ahead further after she tries to go after Geek-Girl and then gets laid out.
Yep.
With a foot. You have this couple riding home in a cab.
Yeah, and they film the whole thing.
And
oh no, it's the girl. It's the girl from the club.
No, it's the couple. That are walking in the door, and that weird villain-looking guy with the green.
Oh yeah, okay.
And the black hat, and the melty face with the red eyes.
And that's where this one kind of ends, like on this cliffhanger. Because that's the guy that's walking in with the girl here is Rick, the other girl from the club who approached Geek-Girl, asking her what happened to him. This is that guy. This is her ex. And apparently he has a new girlfriend or whatever, and that's kind of where the second issue ends. After issue 2, I almost did not want to continue on reading the other 2 issues. I'm sorry, I just like.
Well, and 2, the art was a little rough in it too, compared to 1, 3, and 4.
I mean, I liked some of the art in 2. It was a little bit more polished than at least issue 1 was. But again, I felt the story was all over the place. I didn't have a problem with the art in issue 2. I agree with you. At some points, it is a little jarring here and there. At the point in issue 2 when she does that flying kick to the guy, and we pretty much see her in her skirt and panties, the first thing I thought of was the super giant woman from Dude, Where's My Car, when they giganticized the hot chick at the end, the hot alien. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw that flying kick in issue 2. So issue 3 is a jumping on point. We get 2 pages, quick pages, written recap and images of what's happened in the first 2 issues. And again, I understand why this is advertised as a good jumping on point, because, quite frankly, you don't have to read the first 2 issues once you read this recap. I know.
Yeah, you really don't.
I know I shouldn't be laughing, but. So, issue number 3 is called Meet Mr. Mashup. We open with Geek-Girl flying around the city, talking to her best friend Summer, and they go to, or Geek-Girl goes to Phones Are Fab, where 2 people are robbing the cell phone store. And the police are there. Oh, yay. Geek-Girl goes in, grabs the bags of money or whatever it is, and throws them out the windows. Aren't superheroes, supposed to be billed for that?
No, collateral damage. They destroy cities and they don't pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. So she beats the heck out of these guys, and pulls her cell phone out, which apparently was on the whole time, out of her boot. Apparently it was on speaker the whole time, because she asks Summer, how was my superhero banter? And Summer says, pretty good.
I would think it'd be a little muffled being in the boot.
Yeah, you'd think. I mean, you can hear, kicks and punches and oofs and ums and ughs and pows and kablooies and all kinds of Batman 66 action phrases. We then go to a part of the story that is interlude. And again, this is just weird. Like, you and I watch TV all the time, and we've seen shows. I come from an era where television shows used to have intros of like, you look at A-Team, Knight Rider, Airwolf, those had opening title sequences, and then the show started. You fast forward to I'd say probably mid to late 90s, and TV shows started doing the opening scenes before the title card, before the opening title theme and whatever else. And that's fine. I don't mind that. But this interlude is at page 8 out of a 28-page comic. And the interlude here goes to Paris, France, and these 2 characters that we've never seen before. They're being introduced here. It's a man and a woman on a date. The guy doesn't want the woman talking about her ex because she's really, really worried about him, and apparently this is a new beau, and she's like, oh, well, I gotta go back, and I gotta this, and I gotta that, and I'm just not over him, and again, feels very, very teenagerish.
Yep.
We then go back to Geek-Girl's side of the world. She goes into Munchers, which I guess is a takeoff of Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, or Krispy Kreme. I can't tell. I mean, it's not like it's, the Max from Saved by the Bell or anything. But that's what it almost feels like now that I see Trevor, the guy who created the glasses. I see a sandwich in his hand from this place.
Subway.
Somebody call Jared, please.
No, don't.
Oh, come on.
That's what he said.
Ew, dude. You started that. That was not me.
Anyways, so he's eating the sub, and then they're like, "Hey, isn't that the girl that's got the glasses?" And then it kind of jumps over to
him and
chick.
Jeff. Yeah, it jumps over to the Mean Girls because the Mean Girls are making fun of her. And the whole point of Geek-Girl going in here is she wants to get Mariella's help in order to find, she wants to assist her in finding her ex. And then it jumps out over to Trevor and Jeff. And that's just a little brief thing. And we get Mariella and Geek-Girl going to this house where they knock and knock and knock and nobody's home. And it turns out to be this black brimmed fedora wearing, green coat, trench coat wearing, black gloved guy, Greyface, or whatever his name is. This is also intercut with Jeff getting another sandwich and scarfing it down because Trevor feels that Geek-Girl stole the glasses from him. Because these two guys, Trevor and Jeff, are the guys that were in the strip poker game with her and her roommates. And this one kind of ends with the well, it doesn't end. It starts with the girl from Paris coming into this house that they could not see into, and we get more Mean Girl stuff. Was this written in like 2004? I know it wasn't, but that's what it feels like.
My favorite part is the end where their Geek-Girl slaps the one girl and she shatters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good. That's when I started liking it.
And gets swallowed up by the weird guy that's on the ground, the green guy with the gray face.
Yeah.
With the scythe and everything, and then he's trying to take Geek-Girl out, and then reveals how sinister he actually is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he kind of cuts off Mariella's finger or something or other, and Geek-Girl, super kicks him in the face and takes Mariella to the hospital, and we have the blue-haired chick come in and come to find out this was the guy that she was worried about. His name is Aaron, and apparently he's just sad because she broke up with him or things ended badly. Well, folks, things end badly or else they wouldn't end.
Yeah, but they're actually not from that world.
Yeah, they're from different worlds. So again, we've got superhero stuff, we've got supernatural stuff, we've got teenagerish college kids stuff. It's like, what if the CW hero shows had a crossover with Supernatural? The entire network would explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like Supergirl mixed with Supernatural.
It's the Supernatural girl.
Wow.
That's right.
And then there's like this weird thing at the end for the epilogue.
With the police station and Lightning Strike comes back, and that's the end of issue 3.
Yep.
Issue 4, honestly, is my favorite, not because it's the end of the thing, but because it's probably the best written and best drawn of the 4 issues. Because we actually get an origin story for the villain. We get, more. We get actual character development with Geek-Girl. Which is very, very interesting. And this is only a 4-issue series. This is not an ongoing. Because Sam Johnson, the writer, did send these to me, but when I got paid earlier this month here in March, I did buy them on Comixology because I wanted to be able to look at them through Guided View on Comixology because I love my Guided View on Comixology. But if I zoom in on the bottom of the title page where it has all the creative stuff, at the very bottom where it gives you the company information, it says Geek-Girl number 4 of 4, March 2017. So I don't know if they're going to be doing more of these. If they are, I hope the writing improves dramatically. Number 4 is called Run, and it does improve because we start out with the origin of the villain here, which this is written very well. This is told very well, I think, this first part here in the beginning. What did you think of this meeting Lightning Strike and seeing how she got her powers?
It was pretty interesting. Didn't really expect that. It kind of reminded me of this in a sense of I forget. There's a Marvel character that was developed back when Transformers was on Marvel, Circuit Breaker.
Okay.
And she was actually used to be like a secretary, and then got paralyzed because of a Decepticon attack, and then in the hospital developed a way to, because she was paralyzed, to attach tech to her body, and then she was able to shoot electricity and control electronics and whatnot. So it kind of reminds me of that, except it's a different approach.
Yep. So we go to the classroom with Miss Riviera and Geek-Girl and a bunch of other people that are in the college with her. These quote-unquote friends of hers, like Karen, who basically do nothing but make fun of her. So she and Karen kind of have words back and forth, and the bell rings or whatever. Bells normally don't ring in college, I don't think. I don't remember off the top of my head, but...
No.
Yeah. So Geek-Girl is talking to Summer, and she's walking out and meets up with Trevor and Jeff again. And Trevor and Jeff want the glass. Trevor wants his glasses back, and he and Jeff have the prototypes, and they go through all of that. We go back to lunchtime earlier today, and we meet up with Emma, who is Lightning Strike, essentially. Now, I cannot tell if the redheaded chick here is the bionic eye chick, because she doesn't have the lizard ring tongue thing in the lip. So, was this before the bionic stuff, I guess?
No, this is a different chick. This is the one that she punched.
Oh, okay.
And, like, and shattered. Oh, you're talking about the dinner?
Yeah.
The redheaded chick? Yeah, it's a totally different chick.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because I was like, wait, didn't she used to be a... Yeah. So we get this scene of how Emma got her powers, which I like. I think it's interesting that, you know, these guys who she fired from the job here, they basically, one of them breaks into her office, goes into her office, grabs her favorite teddy bear and throws him into the lightning. And of course, because it's her favorite thing, she jumps in after it, and that's how she got the powers. And now she is this super hottie in this very revealing dress. And we go back to the hospital after that. We see that Mariella is doing well. The hand will heal fine. We go back to Neon Girl, and apparently, you know, she feels that the city can't survive without her.
She's got third-degree burns.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. She's got third-degree burns all over her body. She's pissed at Geek-Girl, and Geek-Girl goes up and basically undresses in midair. I mean, I know she's got the costume on underneath, but she pretty much throws her shirt away. She throws her. I think she even throws her purse away or something. No, she's got her purse on.
Yeah, she keeps her purse, but she throws her pants and her shirt
away. Yeah. And her and Trevor and Jeff have it out in the air because apparently the prototype glasses allow them to fly. I was kind of hoping something would happen to these two guys because they're both being such huge dicks about this whole thing. You know, like, I was hoping the prototypes would short out and they would fall and she would have to save them and then they would leave her the hell alone. But we get to a point now where he's like, okay, fine, go save the world or whatever you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the place where there are a couple of dead people and some casualties from this whole thing that was going on. We go back to Summer, and Summer is still watching the news, and so is Neon Girl and Pitbull, who are both very, very pissed still. I mean, Pitbull I can understand, rightfully so, that he is pissed. I mean, after all, Geek-Girl did punch his lights out.
Yep.
And Ruby and Summer's like, you've got to go do something. And so she does. She flies off. She meets up with Neon Girl, who basically said, or not Neon Girl, Lightning Strike, who says, this city is mine, no one else's, yada, yada, yada. And she asks, Geek-Girl asks herself, is she running from me? What's going on here? And we go back to the dorm, or not the dorm. Yeah. We go back to the dorm with Summer knocking on some guy's door, Josh's door, and she wants to borrow his baseball bat. So we go back to the fight, and it's Geek-Girl versus Lightning Strike, and they're beating the living tar out of each other. I love the art in these battle scenes here for this final battle. What did you think of this?
The final battle was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
And then you get Neon and Pitbull fighting, even though he can't walk, and she's still burned. And then she loses her hand.
Yeah, not so much. And then it's Pitbull ends up, puking all over the place because of the heights and the flying. The cops start shooting at Lightning Strike and stop shooting now. It's only going to make me madder. And the cop is like, cease fire, we're just wasting bullets, and if she gets any closer to Geek-Girl, we're going to hit her. So, Lightning Strike is saying that Geek-Girl is helpless, and, well, she's not really helpless because Summer comes up behind her and cracks her over the head with the bat, and then Geek-Girl punches her out and elbows her in the face.
And then they electrocute each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the glasses fall off, and then they both fall to the ground.
And that's how the issue ends. If this is only a 4-issue miniseries,
then it looks like they all died.
It's sadly anticlimactic. So, basically, after, issue 4 is my favorite. I do really love and enjoy issue 4. If there's going to be more of this, the stories need to be written better, a lot better. There needs to be, not necessarily more structure with them, but there needs to be... I know there's a lot of people that will say, oh, this comic has too much exposition or too much of this. This comic series has zero to no explanation to a lot of things. Yes.
Well, it has explanation, but it depends on how far you get into it. And unfortunately, the Geek-Girl, Neon Girl, and Pitbull don't really get much in the way of history.
Yeah. We don't... Okay... The glasses gave Geek-Girl powers. That's all well and good. We don't know why Neon Girl is the way she is. We don't know how... I mean, Pitbull, I assume he's just a super strong guy, because all he really does is put on a costume? I guess? I don't know. I don't understand a lot of the origins to some of these supporting characters, and as we already said, the two main heroes of the book before Geek-Girl, they got laid up in the hospital before, like in the very first and second issue. This is probably a series that I won't read again. I don't know if they make more, if I will read more of it. I'm just being honest when I'm saying this. I mean, I know these guys are indie. These guys are very indie because they would almost have to be. Because I've never heard of them, any of them. I've never heard of this publishing company. I hope they do more, and I hope they continue to get better.
Well, I mean, for a first experiment and managing to get 4 issues out, that's still an accomplishment.
It is, very much so it is.
And it's still a learning game, because, like, I wrote my own screenplay, which started out as a comic idea and a novel idea, and I've since reread it and discovered what I did wrong, and what I will change if I decide to actually go back to that project. But it's very much a learning curve in figuring out how to set up that universe. And while I applaud what's been done so far, there were some things that could have been changed to kind of amp up more of that and kind of focus less on the kind of clubby scenes or being picked on. It would have been nice to have some, like, maybe in-thought exposition from the character.
Yeah, I didn't really get all of Geek-Girl's feelings as the main character were exposed as defending herself to these supposed friends of hers who did nothing but make fun of her the entire, like Karen and all those people, did nothing but tear her down. Like, there was no internal monologue whatsoever. There was no self-introspection or self-retrospection of her thinking. We didn't, like you said, we didn't really see her thoughts because everything was played out over, people interacting with each other. And I don't know, maybe it's because I've been reading comics for 4, 5, 6 years now, full time, and I'm used to having those little thought bubbles and thought blurbs and internal, you know this because it's how the whole damn podcast and everything started. We started with Batman 13, Death of the Family. And, I know it's unfair of me to compare Scott Snyder to, I know it's unfair of me to compare Sam Johnson to Scott Snyder, but, it's one of those things where the DC formula, the Marvel formula, that works for a reason. Those companies have been in business for X number of decades for a reason. And like you said, yes, this is a very big accomplishment, getting a 4-issue miniseries published from pretty much an unknown publisher, at least unknown to me. I don't know if anybody else has ever heard of these guys, the Marcosia Enterprises or whatever it's called. I think this would have almost done better if it had waited a couple of years. Or, at this point, because it's out there, wait a year, work on a new story, let's say issues 5 to 8. So let's say another 4-issue miniseries. Okay? And in that 4 issues, we see Geek-Girl move beyond the college scene. We see her going into the adult world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And change up the audience you want to reach. Because asking myself, 37, almost 40 years old, 3 years away from 40, oh God, I'm old, to review something that to me comes off very teenager-ish, college age-ish. I was, I remember the first time when I bought these, I read the first issue and I did not go back again after reading the first issue until, an hour and a half before we recorded this episode. And I read all 4 before we recorded this. Because when I first read the first issue, I'm like, this, as I said before, and I hate to keep saying this, but it's how I feel. I can't help it. It feels very high school. And maybe if somebody else reads these and gives a review, they'll have a better understanding or a better experience of it, like somebody who has actually been to a college that has had dorms and parties and things like that. That just wasn't my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I think these guys, if they continue, they've got a lot to work on. I think they can make it better. Because, like I said, the fourth issue I thought was the best one. Not just because it was the end of the series. Yes, the ending was sadly anticlimactic, but the overall issue was written well. It was paced well. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it had a very good beginning, middle, and end. The other and issue 3 was fine too, but the first 2 issues were just... and again, I really... issue 1 was freshman year, issue 2 was sophomore year, and issue 3 and 4 were junior and senior year of high school to me. That's how it felt in the writing. And I'm sorry, Sam, I'm not trying to offend you at all. And as I said, I said to him when he messaged me that, let us review it. After that, we'll have you on for an interview. And I do want to talk to the guy because I want to ask him about this stuff. Like, what was his plan for writing this series? Was it always going to be this? Was it ever something else? I mean, you can do the Geek-Girl thing. You can do the superhero thing. Don't introduce things, at least in my mind, that, this whole supernatural element with the one guy, and then end that story in the middle of an issue and then continue on with your main story with Lightning Strike. Because it did feel like there were 2 very separate stories going on in issue 3, didn't it?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts from you before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I think you pretty much summed it up.
I will, because I really enjoyed the art. As I said, the writing does need a little work, but I will give this a 3 out of 5 on the GCRN scale. That is not a bad rating at all. There is a bit of work that needs to be done, as I've already elaborated on. What would you rate it?
I would give it about the same thing.
Yeah. All right, folks. That's going to do it for us here on the Pull Bag, and that's going to close out March 2017. Coming up in April, folks, we're going to get Otto Botley. Yes, that's right. Otto Botley April. So myself and Ryan and even Flo Merkley are going to be reviewing all of the More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise trades, except for Volume 10 of each series. So we're going to go and do More Than Meets the Eye Volume 6 and 7, Rid Volume 6 and 7, and 8 and 9 of both series as well. And then at the tail end, right before we start up the June content, or not the Batman month May content, we're going to have the issue 10, or the Volume 10 trades for both series. But Otto Botley April, coming up here in the Pull Bag, will also be syndicated over on This Week in Geek and All Things Transformers. Where can the people find you online, sir?
The Twitters at SCP21.
Awesome. And you can find me at TF2 and Mike. You can follow at The Pull Bag on Twitter. You can follow at Geekcast Radio on Twitter, and also at This Week in Geek on Twitter. You can also head over to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network, and also check out This Week in Geek on Facebook, geekcastradio.com, and thisweekingeek.net. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next month for Otto Botley April. See you later, folks.
Me Grimlock not kisser, me Grimlock king.